Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shute Out. Tom Coolican, we return from the bye, and what a delight it is to be back, and some great feedback from our teams of the mid-season, which was great fun having a look at and going through some of the stars and emerging prospects throughout the competition.
Yeah, absolutely, Will. I was expecting a little bit more trolling, particularly on the Warringah Rats haters when I chose to pick 6 out of the 15, from that side. But I thought we got off relatively light. I thought we had a lot more robust feedback, to be perfectly honest.
Well, make sure you let us know what you think, in particular, Coolo's team, across the first two months of the Blue Crane.
Target on my forehead now.
The Blue Crane Capital Shute Shield. It's been a great start, and we went through the round before the bye. East and Warringah both losing their matches heading into that bye. But we have genuine star power coming back. And after 2 rounds of the Blue Crane Capital Shute Shield, looking at the leaderboard or the players at the top of contention for the Ken Catchpole Medal, in no particular order other than alphabetical, these are the players who've been standing out. And the coaches, after every game, vote 3-2-1. That is the process for the Ken Catchpole Medal, an illustrious list of performers in the competition. But having a look at that short list at this point, Lockie Albert from Gordon, Jack Bowen from East, Isaac Crowe from Eastwood, Eamon Doyle, Sydney University, Aniti Finau, Randwick, Will Goddard, Eastwood, Rod Iona, the Two Blues, Isaac Ratamatavuki, Neepkins from South, Titi Nofoanga Tatoa from Hunter, Camel West, Jackson Rapata Warringah, TJ Tala Leva Hunter, Dave Tiatio Manly, and Mitieli Tuinaka Vundra from South. Pretty strong list of players who are towards the top of the voting in the Ken Catchpole Medal. And as mentioned, that is just alphabetical. But Coolo, without any matches to review, it's a great time to reflect on not just the established stars who we've seen in the first 2 months, but some of this talent coming back into the competition from Super Rugby Pacific, maybe from overseas. But it also works both ways for sides, because we've got players heading over to Georgia for the Under-20s World Cup and players heading to play international rugby as well.
Absolutely. We're at that real midpoint of the season, even though it isn't actually halfway. I think a lot of these players coming back, it's actually a breath of fresh air. We've just finished round 8, where our 2 top-of-the-table teams were toppled. East by 20-plus points. Look at how stacked they are this week. I think all sides would relish the cavalry coming back from Super Rugby. It's not like it's a week before finals and you've been dropped after a full season shift. These are welcome players. There's some great cattle, and at the end of the day, everyone wants to win. That doesn't change. That doesn't change across any of those clubs, and I think it's the more the merrier in the Shute Shield comp at the moment. The question is who's gonna pick up Lomax? That's what everyone seems to have, on the edge of their lips.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, and it's great to see these players being released from Super Rugby Pacific. But really interested to see. We won't see it for a little while, but the continued development of these under-20s players. They head across to Georgia, Tbilisi, the old town, a fabulous place to visit. I'm sure they'll be getting stuck into the Hatchapuri and the dumplings and probably not too much red wine, but allegedly the home of red wine. A few places claim to be that. But we are blessed in the Blue Crane Capital Shute Shield with the talent that we see, and that's at all levels this year. It really feels like we're going to be set for a huge final 10 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see players trickling back from the MLR. Luke Gugakowski has come back. He's captain for Northern Suburbs this week. That's a massive in. Their grand final campaign finished up last week. So the players coming back from there. And then the 20s players will come back. The Australian Sevens players are going to come back, when the circuit wraps up there. And there'll be, I'm sure, a stream of Super Rugby players, coming back that probably need a couple of weeks off and a bit of a break. This is just the tip of the iceberg we're seeing at the moment. And this is the best thing about the competition, is that tier below. So you're going to get probably a few wallabies here and there as well, who need a tune-up. So I'm really excited and we talked to Josh Holmes about the battle of those semi-professional amateur rugby players versus the full-timers. Nothing better than a chip on the shoulder from a tradie going up against a full-time Bondi 7, professional Bondi rescue, Waratah. It's going to be great.
Well, on this week's show, we're going to catch up with Rod Iona very soon, the Western Sydney Two Blues captain, who has been picked to play for Samoa, one of a handful of players who will play international rugby over the next little while for nations other than Australia. We're also going to catch up with Josh Holmes, the Warringah Rats coach. The Rats take on the Two Blues in the match of the round. The refs room is having a break this week, but we'll be back throughout the back half of the season. And of course, you could let us know what you'd like to see on the Shute Out in the comments on YouTube and other platforms. But let's get to a little bit of a closer look at our match of the round for round 9 on 9Gem and 9 Now. Our match of the round in round 9 of the Blue Crane Capital Shute Shield is at Eric Tweedale Oval, and the Western Sydney Two Blues hosting Warringah. And joining us this week is Two Blues captain and Samoan international Rod Iona. Rod, always a pleasure. How are you?
Thank you for having me, guys. Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, being the round of the week, looking forward to the game against Warringah.
Rod, you come in mixed form, I suppose, but a lot of those losses you've been right in the fight, in particular that one against Eastern Suburbs, ahead of the win against Hunter before the bye. How would you sum up and how have you enjoyed the first 8 weeks of the season there with the Two Blues?
Yeah, it's been an awesome ride with the boys down at the Two Blues. Obviously, we've gone lose, win, but I guess yeah, a lot of it goes down to our discipline and executing our set piece. So the coaches have worked really hard to kind of nullify what we need to get better at, and obviously trying to control the discipline side of our game. But it's been an exciting year so far.
I want to touch early on the backline. It's an incredibly talented backline, and it feels with every week that we watch you guys play, it starts to click a little bit more. The chemistry seems to build. You steering everyone around from 10, but the Visanias, Suesue, Tetemaki, Akiong. What's it like with that backline, and how close do you feel that you are to getting the best out of that backline?
Yeah, obviously the first couple of games we did speak as a backline that we're not quite there, but each week we're progressing towards a backline that we want to be. And like you said, there's a couple of big names in there like Isaac and Akiong and the likes of the Suburbs brothers. So I guess also with that, there's our grades across the club are really pushing for that first grade that spot. So that makes it a lot harder for boys and having to front up every week and perform. So, yeah.
I guess it's awesome, Rodney, that you're still out there with the boots laced up. You won a premiership with Gordon under DC in 2020. You played all over the world. How's the Shute Shield competition, particularly this season, faring for you, and what's been the change, throughout your time playing in the competition?
Yeah, obviously, I started my Shute Shield journey down at Rats, and then obviously went to Gordon, and now at Parramatta. But like I say to anyone that comes into this competition, joining the club, especially this year, there's a lot of boys from all over the place joining the Two Blues for the Shute Shield. It's a competition that no one should take lightly, because I think Shute Shield is probably the pinnacle of Australian rugby at the moment in terms of semi-professional. So to see the growth in Shute Shield into where it is today, it's an awesome competition for those who are trying to get to that professional, those contracts.
I think if you look around at the 10s, we've got the competition this week. You've got Max Bury, you've got Jack Debrasini, you've got yourself, you've got Jack Bowen, and then you've got Joe Dillon. There's a lot of high-quality 10s running around the competition. Who do you think's going well in that number 10 jersey, and who are you enjoying watching play at the moment from the other clubs?
At this, obviously, there's a lot of good 10s coming back from Super Rugby, and I think for the growth of Shute Shield, that's important, and it's good that those boys are putting their hand up to come back to Shute Shield and really drive the standard in the competition. The one 10 that stands out for me is probably the 10 from Gordon. He's a little fella, but I just love the way he controls the game. Forgive me, I don't know his name.
Harry Snook.
Harry Snook. So yeah. Harry Snook, yeah, I really love how he controls the game there, and yeah, he seems like he's got an old head on him. I'm not quite sure how old he is, but yeah, he really
Not as old as you or me.
That's correct. But yeah, I really like how he plays and the way he plays.
From a forward pack perspective, you've got class up front, a lot of big bodies as well. But one player who terrifies me, but I love watching him play, is Braden Stewart. What's he like every week watching rip in, and what's he like from a training perspective and having around the group?
Yeah, he's been awesome for the boys this year. He obviously brings that physicality and his understanding of the game. He's probably one of our defense leaders, and just when he speaks, everyone listens, and he shows it on the field and off the field. So he's a great leader, and he leads from front in terms of his physicality, and I think a lot of the boys really take a lot of that, and then obviously the boys follow suit.
Angus Scott Young back at training this week, we understand. What's it been like having him back out there at Eric Tweedale, and will he get on the weekend? Has he passed his fitness test yet?
Yeah, he was awesome on Tuesday. He obviously came into the team on Tuesday. He didn't need a warm up, and he was awesome. He dove straight in and obviously introduced himself to the boys and got stuck in. And there's a lot of chewing at training, so he was amongst it. And he's been awesome, and it's been great to have him in the squad, even though it's been one night.
You've been selected in Samoa squad for the Nations Cup. Congratulations on that. Latrell from the Two Blues is in there as well. Connor Tupai from East is in the squad, and it's a lot of talent. But how exciting is that for you to be a part of that squad again, heading over to Chile and Uruguay as well, no less, and with the World Cup in Australia next year?
Yeah, obviously exciting times. The World Cup being around the corner next year. And we're just fortunate enough to be able to be playing in a semi-professional environment. And then I guess our coach, Tusi Pisi, having the faith in us, understanding that we're still working hard here in Australia, in Sydney. Very excited to go over to the Nations Cup. Obviously, last year we qualified last, and we're in the position that we're in right now. And we're really looking forward to going over to Chile and Uruguay to put on a performance well deserved for our people and the players that were involved last year.
It really shows the quality and the respect the Shute Shield comp must have worldwide if you've been 100%. Picked for this competition. I remember in 2011 when the World Cup was over in New Zealand, I was playing first grade for East, and we had Campese Mafu playing with us. We had Kurt Marath. It was a real influx of foreign players from the Tier 1 and Tier 2 nations, which I loved. Do you think that might happen again next year with the World Cup being in Sydney? A real hotbed of global players?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said earlier on in our chat, Shute Shield's going to another level, and the quality of players that are coming back to Shute Shield, it would be hard not to pick from, especially the World Cup being in Sydney. In Australia. So to anyone that's actually playing Shute Shield and wanting to obviously get to that stage, the world's your oyster, and there's guys that are in the Shute Shield now playing for their countries.
It's family day at Eric Tweedale this weekend, which seems fitting for the clash with Rats, given just what's being built there at the Two Blues. And we know how strong the bond is becoming. But what sort of an occasion are you expecting at home? And what's your advice to anyone who's thinking about getting out there to watch the team?
Yeah, so this week's a family day down at the ETS. Anyone that has family, anyone that has kids, come down. It's going to be a day full of exciting things that Lucy and Randy have organised. And get down and enjoy some footy. If you're not following the Two Blues page, they're actually giving out tickets. So grab your tickets and come down and enjoy some footy.
You got to flood your DMs as well. I saw you putting up the call for anyone who wants tickets. So jump on Rod. That's it. Pepper Rod's page. But Warringah are an obvious challenge, number one on the ladder. What do you see? What do you see? Excuse me, as one of the main threats that you need to nullify?
Yeah, they're at the top of the table for a reason, and the quality of footy that they play. They've obviously been a team that have been together for a while, and it shows. I think where they get a lot of their players that we should be looking out for are those two boys that are. I think they're brothers. Are they brothers? They're heavy on
the Barnabases.
The Barnabases. Yeah. So those two boys, they've been a threat. They've been a talk around training this week and how good they're on the ball. And I'm hearing things. Luke Ryman might be back, so a lot of those boys will do a good job for Warringah, and obviously that would probably be their momentum shift in terms of their game. So, yeah.
We can't wait to see it. But before we let you go, just finding out who's hitting up Zach Lomax at the moment from the Two Blues to try and get him across if he's available.
Zach Lomax? I'm not quite sure. That's a good question.
Someone's got to get on that then.
Slide into a DM. He's a leaguey. Be used to people sliding into his DMs.
Does he probably want to come to the Shute Shield, so we might hit him up.
That's it.
You
Very
should,
good.
mate. You should.
Rod, enjoy the occasion out in Parramatta and at Eric Tweedale with the Two Blues this weekend. Hosting Warringah in our match of the round, but family day for the Two Blues. Loving what you guys are doing on the park, but also off the park. And good luck, of course, with Samoa coming up as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
Round 9 of the Blue Crane Capital Shute Shields match of the round is the Western Sydney Two Blues hosting Warringah Rats. And Rats coach Josh Holmes joins us. Josh, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys? Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. Always a pleasure. Top of the ladder for the Rats going into the bye. Had that loss, and teams were hunting Warringah over that past month leading into that bye. But you are top of the ladder and a lot of great performances. How pleased are you with where the Rats are at the moment, and what are you looking forward to for the next little while?
It's nice to be at the top of the ladder. Obviously, going into the bye it was good to sort of stay in that position or close enough. But we've got a lot of things to improve. Obviously, in the back end, in our last sort of 3 or 4 games, we were starting really poorly, and then sort of hoping that our fresh bench had come on and do a job for us. So for us, we need to start better, and we can't just think that, our bench is going to come on and finish the games and get the job done for us. There's a lot of good teams out there, and, that Eastwood showed that in the last game where they started well and just maintained pressure on us. And, we sort of had an opportunity at the end there and we couldn't capitalise.
Got the beautiful Rat Park in the background, and from a club perspective, we know how proud you are of building that wider community, and there have been some great crowds, great depth as well you're building there at the Rats. What's the vibe like around the local community, but also there at Rat Park so far this season?
Yeah, like there's always a good feeling around Rat Park. Obviously the community gets around us extremely well, and they're the best supporters in the game. I think there's a good excitement around, and all grades are doing well. So the boys are keen to sort of get back into it. They're refreshed after the break, so there is a good feeling. We train well on Tuesday night as a club, so we're looking forward to getting back into it tonight, and then focusing, which is I think is going to be a really tough game on Saturday against a good Two Blues team.
You're obviously familiar with the Colts program, Josh. You won the premiership in 2023, beating Parksy and I, City Uni, in the 83rd minute, I think it was. Colts this year, you're top 4 for your all 3 grades. I think you're winning second Colts. Colts program is the bedrock and foundation of any club. Good to see those guys going well.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, Dave Thomas, our head of Colts, is doing a really good job. He had a young squad last year, and a lot of those guys have now moved into being 20, and I think that's a big difference between being a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old in the Colts program. You sort of start to become a man when you're 20, and some of those boys have been rewarded, like in the likes of Sam Blank, Riley Whitfield, and Nick Hill, who have played Australian 20s this year. So The program's doing really well, and I know there's a lot of boys coming through who will put their hand up for Australian 20s next year, and then also go on and hopefully finish off the season really well, and be in the mix when it comes to finals time.
Look, I think I selected 6 out of 15 Rats boys in my team of the mid-season. I think the Rats boys can go toe-to-toe with the best of the Super Rugby players. Who would you like to see called up to that next level, and what do the Barnabas boys have to do to get a Guernsey?
I don't know, mate. I've been asking this question for the last couple of years around the Barnabas boys. Both of them are topping the turnovers. They're great around the field. They're not just. I think they've both developed their games. You can especially see this year that they're not just there to make tackles and steal the ball. They've become genuine sort of ball players. Zach's leading the try scoring tally with, I think, 8 tries in the Shute Shield, and that's just not just from being the guy at the back of the maul when we score tries. Some of those tries he scored have been really good. So, I'd love to see those guys get an opportunity. I'd love to see Ben Fuihunu, our 9, get an opportunity. I think he just adds lots of speed around the field, and he adds X factor, which is great. And I think he'd go really well in Super Rugby. I think LeBron Nayer's now starting to find his form at inside centre, and he's a big man. And once he gets going, he's very hard to put down. So there's a lot of guys who are doing really well, and I think they definitely deserve an opportunity at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's talks of Luke Reimer might be back this week, but there's not a whole lot of cattle or cavalry coming back from Super Rugby for you guys. You haven't required it in the last few years. What does that change, knowing that it's the core group for the whole season versus playing aside with a few Super Rugby players littered there?
Yeah, I think, like anything, you look at all... I think that the Hurricanes are a good example in the Super Rugby this year, where they're not necessarily all the All Blacks, but they got a really good core group, and they're destroying teams. I think it's about consistency and having obviously those connections with guys. Sometimes it can be hard, like going in and out of different programs and different teams and trying to sort of find where you fit in. Obviously, those teams now have time on their side to build those connections, so that they'll obviously get better. But I think from our end, we've got a good group there. We will get a few guys back in the next few weeks who will definitely add to that. And we're just keen to obviously get back into it. And I know the boys love going up against the challenge of playing a guy who's got a Super Rugby contract. They thrive off that every week.
You mentioned some of those players who potentially come back. Depth seems to be a real focus with the way that the roster is building, and you've got huge quality. LeBron Nair, as you touched on, was coming off the bench in recent weeks. He starts this weekend, but Clayton Franz has gone in and out of the side. Glenn Vaihu starts this week. Luke Tucker's showed some nice things. I don't know if Archie Saunders is close, but how big a focus is that depth, and who are some of the players who we can look forward to seeing really emerge out of maybe the wider squad later this year?
Yeah, we do have some really good depth. There's some young guys, there's a young guy called Luke McCready in second grade who was the captain of the 2023 Colts team that won, and he's been over in Ireland playing professionally, and he's back and he's starting to play some really good footy, and if he keeps doing that, obviously when guys keep knocking on the doors, you got to give them opportunities sooner or later. So there's guys like that. There's Joel Kardash, who's been a Rats junior and who's progressed, who's a really good young back rower as well. I think you've seen Finn Hurd, who got his first grade debut this year as a hooker. He's another guy who's come through the system and through the program. There's plenty of guys. And obviously, as you just said, depth's really important. The game's changed probably from when I played in 2017, where you just sort of focus on 15 guys going out and then hoping that you can get 7 reserves from second grade to sort of find that last 10 minutes of energy to come on and finish the game off. Whereas now it's become more tactical, and how you put the reserves on the field at the right time and how they can add energy and how they can sort of change the game. So obviously depth I think is super important in this competition.
Two Blues this weekend. You mentioned the quality that they have, and they've got weapons right around the park. What's some of the focus for you and the Rats in terms of making sure you can try and get the job done against them?
Yeah, well, obviously they're a super they're a super an attacking team, and they can sort of score tries from anywhere on the field. They've got a very dangerous back three with Archeon, Nordstrom, and Vicenia. So we have to obviously maintain the ball and make sure that we just don't turn it over. And obviously, when we're in defence, we just can't switch off and think, oh, they're going to just kick the ball downfield and then give them an open run. So for us, it's just about obviously making sure that we stay focused and not give them little outs or let them find momentum from switching off.
A huge amount still to come in season 2026. You've got the lunch coming up in early July, plenty of home games too. What's the message to the local fans thinking about getting out and supporting the club?
Just keep getting around us. I know the boys love the support. They love running onto a packed stadium on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. I know the boys can't think of anything better, and they love everyone getting there and making heaps of noise and stirring up the opposition.
Josh, we loved watching you play. We're loving watching you coach with the Rats. Congrats on the start to the season. Good luck this weekend out in Parramatta, and obviously, of course, for the rest of the season as well.
Thanks, gents. Thanks for having me.
Round 9 of the Blue Crane Capital Shute Shield and Tom Coolican. We've been blessed through the opening 8 rounds with some entertaining clashes, but it really lifts a gear from here. We're excited about it, and our match of the round this weekend of 9 Gem and 9 Now is the Two Blues hosting Warringah. How do you see this with some of the players rolling back through?
A bit of spat in the works with the defending premiers, Warringah Rats, toppled by Eastwood in what was an interesting round 8 across the board. 27-24, look, they would have been limping into that bye. It's a very similar, cohesive unit, with relatively the same names from last year. So that can get a bit stagnant at times. And, talking to Coach Josh Holmes, even, the inclusion of Luke Reimer, I think is going to add a lot to this side off the bench. It's a bit of spark to what already is a sparkling back row. And for me, that's where the battle's going to be this week. West City Two Blues coming off a good win, 31-29 versus Hunter at home. It's family day down there. They'll be up for that. But the battle of Brad Henderson, Braden Stewart, and Tovu Falifa, I think is going to be really exciting versus Barnabas, and Whitman. It's going to be the battle of the breakdown. That's going to be the most critical part of the game. Rod Iona, who I've played against in the past, is one of the best game managers going around. He talked about the threat they bring, and Travis Church talking about it at training already. And got Scott Young in off the bench for the Two Blues if he passes a fitness test tonight. That's really, really exciting. Viciana out wide. You've got Tetamaki as well. Archeon, they can score from anywhere. Lots of threats, but it's going to come down to the back row and whether or not they can neutralise and not let, the Barnabases into the game, but also the game managers, those 9s and 10s, Sui and Iona. Can they control the game? Can they control field possession? Can they control tempo? They put their team in the right part of the field and they execute on their opportunities and are able to get par at the breakdown. I think the Two Blues are a real chance of an upset here. The Rats going out to Tweedale Stadium. I think Josh Holmes would take the 4 points if it was an offer today. It's going to be a tough game and an ambush all around. Rats will probably get it done, I think, but it's been a lot closer than anyone expects.
Can't wait for it, genuinely. And we do say that about a lot of the games, but it's true. This one, it's a beauty. So that is the match of the round of 9 Gem and 9 Now. All other matches available across Stan Sport. West Harbour versus Gordon at Concord. It's 12th versus 3rd on the ladder, but always a chance, certainly out of the bye, to spring an upset. And that's what this would be if Wests were going to beat Gordon. But they've been in plenty of contests throughout the year. They've had huge, sustained phases of play. They just haven't been able to finish things off in season 2026 all that much. Big ends, though. Debrasini at 10, Hannaford back to fullback where he's showed some really nice flashes. Exciting English lock Jack Bennett gets another start after his debut in round 8, played with Bath, the England under-20s, just 21 years of age, so well worth having a look at him. It allows McDonald's, Yates and Wern as the back row. Look, sign me up for that. That's worth watching as well. So the forward pack needs to be good for West Harbour. The butt is coming. Connor Hickey returns for Gordon, and otherwise Gordon looks very familiar, and that's not great necessarily for opposing sides because of the way they've started the season. Forward pack's massive. They're mobile. Brandon Quinn on the wing again after his milestone game. West Harbour can do it, but it'd be an upset. And at the home of the double dog, Concord Oval, who knows, Cooler, Saturday afternoon, maybe West Harbour can get it done, but Gordon just rolling. They need to start well out of the bye after that win against North. So we head to Manly Oval, another cracker, Manly versus Randwick. How do you see it?
9v8, two teams coming off good wins against West Harbour. Randwick too good at home at Coogee Oval, and then Manly treachery down to Foreshore Park, getting a good solid win, versus Southern District side that can be a real banana peel of the game, but good confident win going into the bye. They'll both be bullish on their chances here. It's Ladies' Day at Manly. It's always a cracking day down there in the sun on a Saturday. So both sides will be up for this. This is just what the Randwick Galloping Greys would have wanted, though. Jack Barrett's back in. Fanau's back in. Tristan Ryan at outside centre, which is such a critical position, in defence, particularly on a great dry deck like Manly Oval. I'm sure we'll see James Hendren there as well. Whether or not he's going to play 15 or play 10, he wasn't named, but I'm sure he's going to pop up. Isa Naisarani as well and Ballinger. I've loved that combination in the back row. This is a good Randwick side that's on the ascendancy. They've been definitely, on the uptick this whole season. They're getting better every game. With those inclusions, I think it'll be hard to stop. Manly, on the other hand, a lot of changes. Chapman comes in, Eat comes in, Condon comes in, Foliaki comes in, and then Sonny Malacia inside centre partnering with Simon Kennywell. It's a lot of changes, a lot of critical key positions. We're not sure their injury changes or their tactical substitutions. It's a tough ask, though, to have those kind of changes. And from a cohesion perspective, we talk about anything more than 3 or 4, the percentage chance of winning goes down drastically. I think Randwick can get it done here and get it done by probably 10-plus points. It's going to be a tough day for Manly, I feel, on Ladies' Day, which is not what you want as a single young buck.
No, it's not. And look, our thoughts with Joel Ellis as well, whose season is over. He will play an enormous role for Randwick, regardless of taking the field or not. So we move on. Northern Suburbs and Hunter Wildfires. We are at Rawson Oval in Mosman, just down the road from the Buena and directly in between Taronga Zoo and Balmoral Beach. Very strong areas, and North's looking to take a game to a community area and really just celebrate and reward that strong community connection and the juniors pathways and everything else. So well done to North's continuing to do great things on and off the park. Max Bury potentially, and he's expected to play. That is massive for Norths, as always, great for us as fans too. That forward pack at Norths is starting to look like one of the most complete in the comp. Ranawai and Dawson either side of Margan. Gersikowski starts, captains from number 7. There's real depth to that pack now too. So familiar weapons in the back line. North starting to look very interesting for the final 10 rounds and just class right across the park, especially if Bury plays and can unlock that back line. So fascinating stuff from North's. Hunter, North's make them just go a little bit further from the drive rather than just getting off at North City. They've got to tuck left and go off to Mossman. So gamesmanship there for North's. But for Hunter, Canadian international Kyle Steeves at tight head. Phil Talaleva comes back. This is huge for Hunter, spiritual leader. Regardless of that, he's a captain for them, plays so well, gets them going, gets to play with his younger brother TJ before he heads across to Georgia to play with the Australian under-20s. Congrats to him. Moses Jones, Quade Cooper's younger brother, starts at 10. They've had real injury concerns, Hunters, so hopefully they get a good run at things. And they remain right on the cusp this season. A great opportunity to make a statement against Norths, who would be bullish and really working towards the back half of the season. It'd be an upset if Hunter beat Norths, given the quality of Norths, but Hunter have been there or thereabouts. So we watch with great interest and can't wait to see the clash, how it comes up on TV out at Rawson Oval as well. So well done to Norths. Cool. Uni versus Eastwood, another beauty. Uni, big win. Eastwood going really well. How do you see this?
It's two sides that have really kind of developed a bit of a natural rivalry. John Manenti, 3 times premiership winner for the Woods. Having probably his last farewell at TG Millner. There's something about that too. Adds a little dynamic to that game. But he knows how to beat Eastwood and knows how to win at TG Millner, which is a hard place to win. And Uni have always struggled to win at TG Millner. This is the best university side they've had this season. They're on a real momentum run. They had a good win, 31-22 versus Gordon 3 weeks ago. And then obviously last week, knocking off Eastern Suburbs, the defending minor premiers, 33-10, in a result that surprised everybody. Darcy Breen comes in. That's a massive in. Talatiana's starting. Solid with Pullman and Pullman in the centres. Faka Fanau comes in, freshly capped from the Western Force. That's another big in. think what Manenti's done is it's smart, is he hasn't inundated the side with changes. There's still players that have played at Super Rugby level, but have also played a bit of Shute Shield. He isn't just doing blanket swaps. It's kind of tactical, and he's doing it in a very segmented fashion, which is the way you should do it. On paper, Eastwood ranked 4th, beat defending premiers last year 27-24. They should be favourites heading into this game. They probably are favourites, but it's a real challenge for them, I think, up front. This is going to be a really interesting battle between Carmichael, Stewart and Goddard against a really good university front row. Leg and Digai up, in the locks. Doyle's been outstanding this season, as is Penosa. The back row as well. But it's going to be really about the battle of the halves here. I think Gonzalez and Schmood versus Nercesson and Joey Fowler. It's going to be about territory and game management. The team that plays in the right areas of the field and then executes when they have the points on offer is going to win. And that's going to come down to the ability to manage, that territory battle. And one thing I will say is Anthony Griffin he's mixed and matched with his 9 and 10. We have seen Goddard there at times. We've seen a few changes. Broderick Evans has played at 10 as well. It's not really what you want to be doing is mucking around with your quarterbacks. University, though, they've got their combination. They're backed it for 3 weeks in a row now. Schmood and Fowler, they're hitting, their straps at the moment. I feel like they're going the right way. Eastwood, if they can make this a real bar fight, trench warfare, they're a real chance. They'll have to make it real low and real dirty, I think, to be a chance and to beat this University X Factor out wide. I'm saying University by 3 points, a real tight one.
Will be a great occasion as well at TG Millner. I think I said it was Uni at home, but it is Eastwood at home and the 5th last game potentially at TG Millner. So we move to East and Southern Districts at Wallara. The Sorodan Cutler Shield is available. Plus, it's First Nations and Pacifica Day, and East will be wearing the First Nations and Pacifica jersey. Cody Walker, former player, former Waratah, helped design the jersey. Great stuff at East and Suburbs, and head on to their website to find out more about the jersey and the story with some players involved in designing that. Edward Lungy starts for Easts before he heads across to Georgia. Adamson in at 7, Gibbs to the back, which is interesting because he's been great at 6, but the changes continue. Wilson and Bowen in the halves. I think the word people use is woofed. Frightening backline beyond that too. Dawkins one wing, Freedom Vahakolo the other, Nick Grigg at 12 is fascinating. Surf and Tain at 13, Sid Harvey at fullback. Geez, Ben Batcher just continues to build this squad. For Souths, Jonty Ravenhill starts in the second row. Really exciting young Colts product for Southern Districts. Fuka, Gibb and Young in the front row is really strong. Tuinaka Vunda at 8 is always impressive. So good in the forward pack. Then Nickel is elite. Ratamatavuki Neepkins is having a great year too. East did drop the game before the bye against Uni. So Souths can take hope from that, the way that they've been playing. No doubt. They've been really pushing sides. They've been in so many contests, but on the Astro, at Wallara, the lineup East is putting out. I don't see it, the upset. And I love Souths and how they've been playing, how they've been working players through, building a bit of depth, managing injuries, but pushing sides, working at them, bending the line with ball in hand and defending well. Nickel on that wing, terrific. So, look, there's hope, but even I don't see it. I think this week, Drew Tonks referees his 99th Blue Crown Capital Shute Shield clash. Congrats to Drew. We might catch up with him for another refs room next week ahead of Clash 100. But there it is, Coolo. Round 9 in the Blue Crown Capital Shute Shield stacked. I think is another word we can use on top of oofed, but stacked. I can't wait. What about you?
Cavalry's back. We're past the midpoint of the season almost. School holidays just around the corner. All eyes on the Shute Shield as Super Rugby's wrapped up. Looking forward to seeing the competition get interesting as we approach the business end of the season, Will.
Lunches are underway across the club, so make sure you head to your club's websites or socials and find out when the lunches are. Also, end of the financial year, you can support them, the Australian Sports Foundation setups, and have a look. But as always, let us know how you're enjoying the season. You can like and subscribe to the show as well. But enjoy round 9 of the Blue Crane Capital Shute Shield.